totally agree with you. I think we all have a commitment toward excellence in every case, that we want to do the best, we want to be the most prepared. So I'm good, I think
you can work with that, absolutely. But you guys do that within your office, like everything about it is doing the best that you can possibly do. And that's why you're thinking about something at 3 o'clock in the morning, or if you didn't, you wouldn't care, you'd clock out and be done, your head would turn off and you would be done. But you don't, you take total ownership of that, and wanting things to be the best they can possibly be. And not everyone does, so I think that's absolutely valid to put that on that core values. So on that sheet, that's what it is, it's filling out those core values, but you basically had those already done, so we don't need to spend a lot of time with those, so let's go to the next part then. Your core focus. That would be on the next page, that would be page 6, page 6 is examples of core values. And like, Spencer was saying, he went through the binder, and it is kind of a mainstream business, kind of manufacturing some of these things that you see, and so to tailor them for, your specific firm is what we're trying to do, right? So, let's talk about your vision then. Now, people call it different things. Vision, mission, the gold star. I mean, there's a million different words people put around it. But what is your vision? So let me put it this way, is what you do and it says this right here on page 9, I guess it is now. Well, on your organizer is the best way to see it. Do you have a purpose, a cause, or a passion? Is what you do a purpose? Is it a cause, or is it a passion? Or is it all three?
I think it serves a purpose.
It serves a purpose, I agree. It's a passion, or you guys wouldn't put that much time into it, right? Cause, I usually see for more nonprofits, I run a local nonprofit in Clay County called the Children's Policy Council. I've done that for 20 plus years, and we basically align kids with resources and put those two things together. And that's, it's federally mandated, but you're not giving any money. So that has to be a cause for me, or, I'm going to be putting this much time into it. So I think there are definitely differences between those. So some of the questions you need to ask yourself when you're looking at your vision, right? What is your niche? So what is it that you do different than everyone else? My niche in my business was I did customized training. So when I sold my business, we were the 3rd largest in Montreal, and we were the #1 when it came to customized training. Because anyone could call me up and say, Lisa, I've got some mainframe programmers, and they need to know Fortran, and and we customize the class. Hey, we need training in this leadership, whatever, we customize the class. So it wasn't just canned. You weren't just going to go to a canned class. You're going to go to a class that was customized for you. That was a niche I found in the market that wasn't covered. So that was what I did different to differentiate my business. So is there a niche for you guys? There may be, there may not be. Do you see yourself having a niche?
I think that we provide very high quality legal services to low and middle income people.
There you go. That is how I've always seen your niche, right? To low and middle income people, right? Giving advantage to those who may not have that opportunity elsewhere. Now, that's not saying you're not going to take a rich client when they come in the door. Hey, yeah, come on in. You too can be served, but you're not going to say no, right? Are there that many options? Are there a whole lot of law firms like you out there?
Not to do what we do well.
Exactly. Because that becomes a discrepancy, right? Well, you can't really afford a whole lot, so you need to go to this law firm because you'll be able to afford what they do. And what you do different is you say, no, you're going to have a wonderful level of excellence regardless of what that demographic looks like for you. We're not going to treat you, just like you said with your guys, we're not going to treat you any differently, right?
How does that combine with growth and profits and revenue driven?
Well, when we look at 10-year goal, maybe that'll flush some stuff out.
Okay.
I'm with you, I understand. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, I understand the
I
question.
also think though, like efficiencies, like the things that we do more efficient makes us more profitable too.
100%.
Even if we do end up being, you know, almost capped out in the market, but we've been saying we've capped out for a while, we keep raising our fees incrementally, you know, people also keep paying, so, I mean, I don't know there. Also, they almost our nation, like Birmingham market, sounds strange to say it is one, but the fact that we do everything, most everything, like we have a general practice because, you know,
General.
in,
Oh, you mean areas of practice?
yes,
Yeah.
because in
Or full
Birmingham,
service.
everybody's just a specialty firm.
Right.
So that we have almost a full service, pretty much.
Oh, I see what you're
firm.
saying, so you're more
It's-
general, okay. I
It's kind of, I mean, it is different
It's
there.
against the modern trend is to go into
Specialized.
niche.
Right.
It's what you're told law school to do.
Right, yeah, find a niche. Well, that, maybe that's your niche is that you don't have one, and that's perfectly valid as well, right?
Yeah, we still have people that are have an exceptional amount of knowledge about a particular area, which I think it makes what we do unique. And that's how we excel being a small firm, and nobody else does what we do well, because everybody's got some kind of special
And
knowledge.
it's all complimentary.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't think this is like, I don't know that this is.
That probably added nothing to the conversation.
No, it did, so, but say that again, so that you are able to specialize, but you also as well have you are able to generalize, but you also as well have very specialized skills, should those need to be put in play.
Yes.
But if not, you're just as good generally as you are you're better specialized, but you know what I mean?
And then, you know, what's good about that is each one of us that has one of those things that we're just really interested in, that
Yeah.
we know more about
Yeah.
maybe than others.
Right.
The other attorneys in the office are just as curious to get to that level about those certain topics.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not
Yes, I
like
do.
we're all of us are very. We don't want to just branch off into one middle.
We're
Yeah.
intellectually curious.
Yeah, so do you guys cross-train a lot, like?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
yeah, right.
Not
I'm
cross
not
training,
cross-training,
but
but-
you
Well, I mean,
talk
like
about-
cross, yeah.
But like
You bounce
Cross
things off
practice,
each other.
cross
Yeah.
practice is what I mean.
to get that level of knowledge takes working on a case or dealing with problems and working through it. And we have so many other cases. I'd like to be able to call Tyler and get a relatively brief answer
Right,
or pitch a problem to Greg
like a Coles notes almost, like here, yeah, just
Yeah,
tell me what I
I
need to
mean,
know, right?
is a huge
Invaluable, right,
benefit.
yeah.
I mean, the way Phil's heard my pitch on this, but I mean, the way I envision is two things from a medical comparison. One is like an emergency room that all of us need to know exactly, just like an ER doctor.
Like a triage, yeah.
That we can
Yeah.
handle whatever walks in the door. You
Right.
can't say an ER doctor say, you know,
That's not
we're
looking
plastic
good.
surgeons,
I don't
and
know
so
what
we
that
don't.
is, yeah.
So we need to be prepared to do that, but at the same time, we act like a teaching hospital, that everybody is being exposed, all the attorneys are being exposed to a whole host of areas. None of them are, Tyler, you only do criminal work.
Right.
Phil, you're only gonna do estate planning.
Right.
We do not do that, so
Right.
Phil gets estate planning, domestic, everybody gets everything and exposure to everything, because I see that makes them better lawyers
Right.
from a broader
Right.
vision
Right.
of how things work together, but also from skill sets that the practice that they have or are getting. I mean, right now I can go, just because of my experience, I can go try a jury trial either way.
Right.
You give me a weekend, I can do it.
Right.
That's only because I've been on so many different areas and I'm now comfortable, and that's the practical skill setting, is that it enables them to have that exposure to a whole variety of practice areas that improves them, that they can truly do anything that walks in the door.
Well, like, okay, sorry.
I mean, honestly, our niche, how do I say that word?
Niche.
Is maybe not in Birmingham,
Yeah.
but Clay County and Goodston, it's just, we actually give up, like, we care.
Yeah. Yeah, give a darn, yeah, yeah.
There's not a lot of attorneys,
In those two counties.
there's not a lot of attorneys in the area that care. I mean, they just don't care about their clients, they don't care about their work products. And we have a reputation of actually caring about our clients and caring what happens to them.
Listen,
And that's what I was thinking
yeah,
about
you
earlier when Greg was mentioning, that what social dynamic is, whether they're retained or indigent, they get the same kind of representation, and y'all definitely are known for that.
Right.
Whether they've paid us a $7,500 retainer or they were appointed in court, they're gonna get the same And I'm not saying that's generated lots of revenue over the years, I'm just saying the reputation is known that
Well, I
you're
think-
gonna get the very best legal representation no matter what area, what dynamic you come from.
Other firms generally get the same representation too, I think.
Mm,
I mean,
You're so nice.
in what world are you talking about? Not,
well, it,
Well,
I mean, we get phone calls of, well, I have an attorney, but he's not doing anything for me. I hear
or I
that
have an attorney
Well,
that won't travel.
every
me,
day.
won't do this.
We hear that every day.
Right.
So
she's working on it.
somebody's told them about that.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Notably different from
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Right, but that goes back to your core values.
It does,
Right.
it does. But it's, that core value translates into those niches, they kind of work together.
Well, even at my husband's store, we lost our office manager, and she went away, and I made the mistake of saying, yes, I can do QuickBooks, which I never should have said. So I got stuck doing the books, and when we go to do our invoices, my husband will pull, and he'll say, no, his wife, no, his wife is dying, no, she has cancer, we're not gonna do that, no, he's going through a hard time, just wait a couple of months on that one, or no, just put that on hold, and I'm like, are there any we can send out? So why don't you just give me the pile of the ones we can send out, and I'll go ahead and do those. And then, there's a lot of times, like when I first got married, there was a man who knocked on the door and he had a bag and he says, I cannot pay Walt for what I got, but I'm not gonna be owing to anyone, and so I'm gonna give you this. It was a chicken. It wasn't a Sam's rotisserie chicken. It was a live chicken. And I'm like, where does that go in QuickBooks? Like, do you have to make a special account for chicken? Like, how does that work? But, I understand that those are some of the things that we do, right? So, I think that is your niche. I think your niche is just exactly what you said. You do that different than everyone else. So this isn't something you put out to the public, this isn't something you hand somebody a sheet as they walk through the door, but this is something you have to be comfortable in your own skin as a firm, as a business, saying, yeah, these are the things that we all collectively believe in. And if you don't believe in them, then that's gonna be a problem later on down the road, right? And that's where people off-board, that's where people kind of go away. You can grow a beautiful flower, and you can grow a beautiful weed in the exact same ground, right? I remember when I first moved here, I was putting that weed, that feed and seed and all that, and my husband has a dry sense of humor. He walks by and says, that's a weed, right? I'm just watering the heck out. It's like, well, it's a pretty weed, but it's true. Weeds will grow the same place flowers will, and they'll grow every place flowers won't. So, some of those things happen as well. All right, so let's look at that. So we looked at purpose, cause, and passion. So you guys say it's a purpose and a passion together. Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. And we kind of defined our niche. You want to put words around that, or you want to leave that open for the moment? He can.
I wrote, provided high quality legal services to underserved communities.
Okay. Everyone gonna write that down? High quality legal services to underserved communities.
Or to be the Dollar General of law firms.
I think yours sound a lot better than the other one.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was fighting when I was in my training. There were McDonald's training centers all day long. They just run you through like a puppy mill, And that was what I did not want to do. I had nurses, I had, medical health professionals come in and teach. I wanted to have the best possible person in front of my group, or whoever was coming in to be trained. So that's what was different for me. All right, now comes the fun stuff. 10 years out. Okay, here we are. I don't know if this is, where is this? I don't know what technically this is. But here we are, Coop Camp,
It's not good water.
right? I'm not sure technically what this is.
It's Millville.
Millville. I actually live in Millville, and I don't really live in Millville, but they say I do, so. All right, 10 years out. Close your eyes, like really, close your eyes. 10 years out, look at the office that you're in, wherever you are, you're Birmingham, you're Ashland. You see it, okay? 10 years from now, what does that look like? Not so much the physicality of where you are, but what you're doing every day. 10 years out, what is 10 years out going to look like? If you have a child and they're 5 years old, think what your child's learned in 5 years. You have a child and they're over 10, think of what 10 years look like. Alright, tell me what you see. Do you know that 10 years is only $87,600 now? Do you know it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything? 10,000 hours. Years. We won't let Greg go first.
Retirement's coming.
Well, he's like, I am at home in eating Cheetos.
coming.
That's what my 10 years looks like.
You're not going anywhere. Do what you think.
You go. All right, Greg, we'll let you go. Paint a picture for us of how you see Varner Law 10 years from now. Just think 10 years. Okay, think if you had a child right now, how old they're going to be, how different it's going to be. Right? Think of your child.
You
at
could be
10
very
years.
Y'all very
Or Tyler, think 10 years into marriage. You've heard everybody talk. Think where you're going to be.
Hopefully still alive.
Okay, so this is the easiest thing to do. Go 10 years back. Where were you 10 years ago?
High school.
Were you in school?
Are you really?
Were you in
Holy
college?
crap.
Wow! You were in high school?
You are too.
Your wife too.
She must have.
I wasn't sorry.
Just got our driver's license.
Let's just go to 8 a.m. party.
Watch it.
We're celebrating different things.
Okay, you just got your driver's
That's
license,
right.
and look where you are now. Okay, all of that.
Bailey will have a driver's license. And
I see us with another office.
Do that again. 10 years is a long time, but it's only 87,000 hours, which is not all that long.
Are we asking 10-year target for the firm as a whole?
I see us with another office.
Okay, you want, okay, one
we're
office.
thinking like 3.
I'm just gonna say office.
1 every 3 years, Lee.
Okay?
Possibly
Or this
two.
is- Well,
Possibly two.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
all right, one of the things is, it's up, I think it's Jim Collins.
I can get it off, I do that all the time.
I was just saying,
I
that's
can get that off.
Oh, it is mine.
Just pretend
That's
it's
the whole
over
time.
there.
I'm sitting here making fun of it. It's my board. It is. I forgot it's mine.
Tyler, I will fix this. And Kelly said, she said, I got you 2 different things, one for here and one for there.
It'll come off.
Not a problem.
She's not dealt with this before.
That's
We
the
own
most.
a hardware store.
That's the
It's
most
not a
that's been
problem.
written on that board in 2 years. So don't.
No, really, I do know how, I do that all the time, I do know how to fix it. All right, okay, so we'll be over, you're writing now? Is that all right? All right, so, okay, all right, another office, 1, you want 2, anybody want 2? 2, 1, 3, anybody want 3?
One to two offices.
Let's go,
1 to 2.
1 to 2 offices.
1 to 2 offices.
Where?
In Randolph County and Coosa County.
All right. Coosa, 1 office each, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what else? Oh, just say it. Everybody just say it. What?
Right.
Are we gonna be
Right.
practicing some different kind of law? Are we gonna be practicing any kind of different kind of law?
Is there
I see that there is an opening for bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy. All right.
Not me.
When I close my eyes and envision, I like to, I envisioned, like, I can see, I would love to see, like, everybody's still here. Like, I envisioned, you know, Jameson as a teenager. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys and children, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, working in the back, you know, doing stuff, summer intern.
Yeah, I just, like, I would love to see, like, the group that's here,
Still be here.
yeah, as veterans, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Lee's like,
You
You realize how old I'm gonna be in 10 years, right?
You realize how old I'm 60. As strong as we are now, like, if we had another 10 years together, wow.
I mean, think how powerful you guys are right now. Think how much traction you're gonna get.
And my thing about bankruptcy is because we have Jasmine that has worked in bankruptcy for a bankruptcy attorney. So, you know, there is that potential that we're not counting on.
Right,
That we
exactly.
do have someone.
Okay,
Tyler has expressed interest in going to federal court, have you not?
Yeah.
So,
okay. So
Branching out even more.
branching out, right?
Employment law,
What kind?
employment.
Which is also federal court.
I don't think it-
I also see the Birmingham office like as busy as the Ashland office. You know what I mean? Like bringing it its own,
And particularly doing, I think, a steady stream of real estate closings.
yes, I agree.
Having someone dedicated to real estate, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Not you,
I don't know.
but someone, is that what you said?
I don't know if
Dedicated
that's-
to-
Just
That
a-
may be actually the top, that's probably the more.
Just a steady stream of real
Yeah.
estate
Yeah.
Yeah.
closing
cases.
That's probably a more realistic.
Do you ever see having another, like satellite office in the Birmingham office, like another, or
I
just
don't
that
think
one
they
in
would need
Birmingham?
another two
I mean,
offices in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so,
I'm gonna get my green pen out now, okay?
Lee said two. All right, this is my vision for our firm. I think I've shared this with you before, is that in 10 years, I want us to have a total of 8 offices.
oh Lord.
So that would be, so 6 in addition to what we have now.
Okay, so where would they be then?
Well, I would say Redowney, Rockford,
Okay.
and Heflin are the 3 clearest.
Heflin?
Yes, ma'am. And then, I don't know, it would be organically where it grows. Now, like Phil's from West Alabama, I mean, that's a market that we really don't hit, but his entire, so
All right, I'm gonna put a question mark right now.
my vision is that we look at places that I've identified that are legal deserts, and that's 32 counties in the state that we could organically grow into, using the model of what we do in Ashland, and we establish those physical presences in those other communities. And we do what we've done here. My vision is the attorneys, the associates now would move up to be those that operate those offices.
Okay,
So, that-
like owning a Chick-fil-A.
yeah, and it doesn't have to be, but like, say Tyler, I'm just gonna.
Well, just
Open
maybe.
Reality. And so, that doesn't mean he has to be there full-time. My vision there would be that you'd have paralegals that were like a league that can run the office. That they.
That would be like a case chief with
You
other
staff that.
paralegals, and then Tyler might have another lawyer in Redowney, and then does Tyler float? What's the vision there? He floats?
We could all,
All-
we continue to use each other as this synergy that we all have,
Right,
that we're able to use the resources, even if maybe I'm in the Ashland office, and let's say Phil had a West Alabama office, that we have the resources and the firm
mhm,
and all the skill sets that we all have, that we're able to bring that same to bear on West Alabama. And so he's not floating out there as an island as a sole practitioner, you've got the full resources of the firm. And so we use the Ashland office or the Birmingham as sort of a hub
right.
that we send the attorneys out as needed. You staff those offices with a very competent paralegal, and they can, I mean, a lead, she could handle an office right now by herself.
And do all the intake
You have
and
a
all of that,
lawyer.
and the arranging and the,
If you have a lawyer
Coordinate.
that comes in there 2 days a week that does consults and then appears in court, but she's there, that's, and that's the reason I think you could spread that out to multiple. Now, you know, we talked about the 10-year goal being what books call a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Is that a big goal to try to get to 8 and to think that that's possible? Yeah, but that's what we're.
oh, yeah.
That's what we're setting is,
You
this
overset expectations,
And so-
always overset, so you settle for something you wanted anyway.
and so, but I really don't see, I see that it's possible within the next 36 months to have Wedowee, Rockford, and Heflin. In my opinion,
In the
we've got,
next-
we've developed a relationship right now with the bar, with the bench, and with those communities in Wedowee and Rockford, right now. That we have the ability to move in there, smooth, and nobody's gonna know, nobody's gonna,
Notice you?
no, not notice, it's not gonna be, who are these outsiders
Yeah.
coming in here? We're already known. Now Heflin's one we'd have to develop a relationship with.
Mhm.
That means you start marketing,
Mhm.
but no, I don't see Birmingham. Again, Birmingham does not need any more lawyers or law firms.
Right.
The reason we have the office in Birmingham right now is so I can recruit talent. I mean, I couldn't have convinced Phil to move to Ashland. But
Oh,
It's
yeah,
possible.
well,
He-
this
but
dinner.
that is true, he uses that, truly.
Does he, does he?
He
like
does
that?
not list Ashland on his, LinkedIn.
Ah,
job
yeah, yeah.
profile.
But
False advertising,
Tyler
Tyler.
loves us.
Just saying.
so,
You have to convince
Gets you
so that's generally, I like, I mean, expanding into other areas and become more beneficial. I'm all for that as we can organically grow. And one other thing, this is.
Hey, big hairy goals, come on.
My other thing is I would like us to become so profitable that we can fund a free clinic.
So profitable that you can have a free clinic. And what does that clinic do?
Innocence
Provide
Project.
legal services.
Yeah, but
to-
I mean, like, is it a constant free clinic? It's like you have to, you qualify under some kind of,
Yeah, for a very extreme one, my vision there is going into somewhere like Inslee or, somewhere like that,
okay,
and where they have no real good.
representation at all, right?
And we provide free.
Okay, so is that like on a monthly basis, a certain amount of days per month basis, on an as needed, like, how does that work?
My vision is that it'd be full-time, but, I mean, we'd have.
Okay, so that you're funding enough so that you could have a full-time,
And along with that,
An Innocence Project.
but, well, that's different, but I would love that, but also that we use it as a means.
I need to sit down, these are getting pretty big, no, I'm sorry, no. No, I'm just kidding, I'm just
Good
joking.
that you fund, you work it, and so I like teaching, and so where we have law students that are coming in, and basically we use it as we're from Miles,
Yeah,
from Sanford.
Yeah.
And Birmingham Southern, where they can come in and work
and get
practice.
real life practice, right?
And it provides me an opportunity to sort of mentor them and influence future lawyers into doing what we do.
The right way.
Over there, south of Birmingham, it's,
What, Anson?
Like closer to Birmingham than.
Mid,
It's part of our.
Yeah.
Midfield.
Fairfield.
Fairfield.
Yeah. Much older district,
Totally impoverished.
yeah,
truly.
Totally, I mean, it makes,
yeah,
not that Clay County's not impoverished, but it's
yeah.
real deal.
We have 55%, no, we have 75% reduced
Oh, no,
lunches
we
in
can
our
talk
county.
about this. I will say, Greg got some goals, I got some goals.
Alright, let's hear your goals.
Let's hear your goals, Kelly.
Let's hear some of yours.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, that is his big, hairy, audacious goal. It's just that Greg is, whether we're in our personal life or professional life, like, he is the visionary and I'm the realist. So I just have, like, what that looks like realistically.
You use that SMART CrossFit. I mean, that's how she thinks.
What now?
The SMART across,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
Kelly, that's how.
Well, but can I ask you, okay, so let me ask this question. Do you think that it sounds just, too difficult and complicated because of, like, what's going on right now? Like, but if you got your systems ironed out, if you got your processes down pat, if you had everything that was a template, and everything was just chugging, and you had that little engine, and you could rubber stamp it. See, that's what I did, right? I waited, I did traction, or my version, and I was able to template my training center, and just boom, I put one downtown, boom, I put one in another province. And yes, it took money, I had to feed it with money, but I really didn't have to do anything else, because everything else was there. Now, it took a while to get there, but it really was. And here's the other thing, you magnetize yourself to the ways and means of getting there. And this is, if you've never read this book, it's really good. It's by Price Pritchard. It's called You. And basically that says if you say that out loud, you will then magnetize yourself in that direction. So one of my goals with all my people was I said I want to have a training center downtown Montreal, which was like no real estate ever came up downtown Montreal. And it was so horrendously expensive you couldn't ever imagine to be able to afford it. And I would say that out loud, I want to be downtown because I wanted to get a government contract one of the requirements was the employees could not get in a car and go to any kind of training, they had to be able to walk. Don't know why, just what it was. Well, the government building was downtown, so you had to be within a walking radius to be able to get a government contract. And so I would always say, gosh, I wish we could get downtown, gosh. Well, one of my trainers is down at lunch, she's downtown, she overhears a conversation at the table next to her, there's a real estate agent, they're talking about a building that's downtown, and she said, they're really struggling, they wanna half their building, and she's just having a conversation at a very close table. She says they wanna half their building and lease the rest of it out. Ding, 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 ding. So, lady comes running into me, she's Lacey, you'll never believe what I just heard, I got the lady's card, you need to pursue that. We ended up renting that building. That would have never happened had we not spoken it out loud about us wanting to be downtown. She would have just had lunch and heard that conversation as noise and never rang any bells. So you've got to speak it out loud, because then everything starts to accumulate in that one direction. So if you guys are thinking that this is the big hairy goal for 10 years, as things come along your way, you may say, hey, if that's what we're looking at, then we probably need to look into this, or we need to mark this as important, or we need to, and you start working your way towards that goal. You absolutely magnetize your way. You absolutely magnetize your way more. So I'm all about huge goals, all of them. If you reached half of them, you'd be thrilled today. If you reached half of those, if you did 4 offices in 10 years, had a free clinic but it wasn't full time, had some law students going to the free clinic that's not full time, you'd be thrilled. So let's go big and see where we go. What else? How does everybody else, is anyone surprised at this? Let me ask you this.
I'm surprised at the free clinic. I've never heard that from Greg before.
It's a cool
That's the
idea.
first time I've heard that from you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which I'll say, my long-term goal is a judgeship in Clay County. That's just, I've never been shy about that. However, in 15 to 20 years, if our firm looks like that, that's no longer my goal.
What would your goal be?
That.
You would be
Yeah.
up for that rather than a judge?
Yeah. Wholeheartedly say that.
Wow.
I-
That's cool.
If that's the, if
Yeah.
that.
I mean, if that's where you're going, right? Why can't you gotta go somewhere? I know you guys, you gotta go somewhere. So why not go where you want to go?
We actually kinda had to pass on something. We had an opportunity in Randolph County.
Okay,
Like, you were
Yeah.
talking about the
Yeah.
prime example, we
Yeah.
had the prime location,
okay,
kinda with business that was gonna be given to us too.
okay.
But we are having such growing
Pain.
pains right now and didn't, I mean,
You just couldn't.
I was willing to go,
Mhm.
but having an attorney to go, that,
And when I say like I'm a realist, like that, those are the conversations that we have. Like, okay, if you seriously want, then we have to spend the next 12 to 18 months perfecting the model, so that what she's saying, that you can go in and replicate. And so, like for me, the 3-year picture was like
Yeah.
Weed Alley and Coosa. And then from there, I'm like, if we have spent the time perfecting and we continue to perfect the model, then from the 3 to 10 years, I'm game. You know what I'm saying? Like if all those things are working, but when I say I'm a realist, like I mean,
Yeah,
I
we-
told Greg, like I have a hard time like wrapping my head and my heart around,
we acknowledge that we, that
you know.
it was right, but it
You
wasn't
just weren't
right
there
for
yet, it was
us.
the wrong time.
Yes.
Wrong time, that's all. But it was just a picture into the future though, wasn't it? So I guess that's why everyone's kind of, let's do this now, let's get all of this organized, under control. Let's spread it out, I mean, because you're gonna have to ferret a lot of this out. What happens when you do this is you find everything that's not really good about the systems that you have in place. And sometimes it hurts people's feelings, sometimes it doesn't, some people are all on board, some people are half on board, but you have to go through the process. So you guys give yourself, I don't even think it will take a year, I think you could do it in 9, 10 months, and almost be at the place where you feel like you have it under control and totally organized, and it's got to be livable, right? It's got to be a free, changing, ever-changing document. This whole process does, because life does not stay static. So I think, sometimes you get caught up in the details, right? And that's really where people are. We limit ourselves on where we say we want to go, Because all of a sudden we say, well, I wanna do this, and then reality comes in, and it's like, or our reality, how we, perception is reality, right? Whatever you perceive is your reality, the other person may not think so, but that's the way it goes. So, you say, there's too much work. When you're doing goal setting, you don't think about the work, you just think about the goal. Just point in that direction, because the rest will work itself out. Now, if you don't have a goal, then everyone's just spinning, right? You're not really going anywhere, you got a couple inches here, a couple inches there. If you have a goal, everybody walks towards that one area. So I love that, and now let's do 3 years. You guys just told me what that was. Let's do, how many hours is 3 years from now? We'll do the marketing in a minute. Oh, so 3 years, 26,280 hours from now. 26,280 hours from now. 3 years.
3 years.
You
I
wanna go
failed.
for 2 offices? I mean, hey, what are they gonna do? Give us an F because we failed and we didn't do it? No.
2 offices, definitely.
Spencer?
I would agree with that.
Where? I mean, wherever ends up being the best, but you know, like your first stabs are gonna be.
Randolph and Coosa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. And do, chief paralegal, right? Fill in the rest, so those details will come. Right.
In each office.
Okay. And your mission then would be to serve
Exact same.
the desert counties, right? Okay, all right. Okay, so the question then is, you're going to have to do something to make sure that your fee structure is helpful to those that you're trying to serve, but also then it's helpful to you to be able to do the things that you wish to accomplish in 10 years in a free clinic and all of those things, right? So, you gotta kind of be strategic about working forward in those matters, right? But right now, we're just goal setting. Right now, we're just doing some big, where do we think we want to go? All right, so 3 years, 2 offices. What about 1 year?
Perfecting the model. Can that be a goal?
It can. 1 year, 8,760 hours from now.
I say the Randolph County office.
Looking for input. We're not saying we're gonna do it, we're just throwing it out there. Anyone think that in 1 year that you could have 1 more office? See, everybody's got the, oh my gosh, there's so much to do.
Well, I mean, the problem is within 12 months, Kelly's right, is getting all of this sort of the, like Dollar General, you know, they basically take their same plan,
Okay.
same building structure, everything and move it. So that's true, we would need to have, we'd have to be much further along
In the
on
process.
where, you know, having all of this where we're not managing 24 hours a day, but we'd
And-
have to have additional staff. I mean,
Right?
you'd have to have,
You're gonna need another paralegal.
you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
you'll need a.
So,
And
okay, so let's not talk about new offices then, let's back up.
Well,
Are you gonna onboard any more people?
as far as
Yours is it.
paralegals go, I would like to see Christie or Jasmine or Sherry. Sherry does not want to do any paralegal work.
And we're not gonna make
Well, we're not gonna make her, but I would really like to see Christie and Jasmine cross-train enough that since they've been here, that could be ready to go into another office. I would like for them to feel secure enough and learn enough and have that initiative to want to run an office.
What do you think about being the lead alley, Christie? Could you
I guess
ever
so.
see that?
You could?
Yes, I mean, you know, it, definitely has some, just, you
Appeal?
know, well, I mean, I live there.
She said
Oh.
she lives in Woodland.
Yeah, a lot of appeal.
And, just from the standpoint of being in the community and knowing people,
Right?
I think that for me, the gap is that I just haven't been in a law practice long enough to feel that level of, you know, confidence that I can communicate with clients. You know, I still hold back because I respect these attorneys and certainly don't want to put them in a position where, you know, something, I say something wrong.
And I
You
think
know,
I feel that way too, I don't wanna say anything that's.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Sherry mentioned too, she said, I'd love to be trained, she said, so I have more sort of just the legalese knowledge, you know, so I understand when people are saying things to me in terminology, that I understand that a little bit better. That's not a hard thing to do, right? That's easy to,
Right.
to work. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so 1 year, I mean, that's doable, isn't it? I mean, isn't
Sherry.
that doable to train up
Your probate.
Sherry, to train up Christie?
Just to listen.
Just to listen.
Yeah,
Yeah, just so you really, so that's a great idea. I haven't thought about you being in there because just learning the
Well,
vernacular.
that's like me
Right.
learning platings and motions. I'm like,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
When I
Yeah.
learned, when I was with Diane, I'm like, I don't know that's a plating. I don't know what's a motion. I don't know what's an order. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
I think
learning.
that's valuable for you to sit in and listen to the process.
And Jasmine will be going to court with me on the sixth team.
so does this sound doable in 1 year? Complete traction? Complete a whole year of traction?
Yes.
Look at the 20 tools, take the ones that work for you, know the ones that don't, and put them back in the toolbox for when you do need them. Does that sound? Take the 3 that we're looking at right now, obviously those need to be flushed out a little bit more, we all know that. But to be able to use these 3 every single week, in 1 year you will have had 4 quarter meetings, you'll have an annual meeting where you re-gear up. So if you made that a goal to complete your traction, you've already talked about perhaps onboarding too, right? Do you see that being any more?
Yeah.
If you're gearing up to maybe have 2 offices in 3 years and you need to train up those people in your ways, so to speak, you almost would need to speed up this process a little bit more of onboarding. You would need to almost onboard those people, so if you're on track for 3 years, they had enough experience, enough time in your system,
Yeah.
you would have had enough time to oversee.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but like, for 12 to 18 months, I feel like if we ended up like bringing Jim, and just say it was Shelley, and we spent that time just really pouring into the resources in as a people
Mhm.
that we have, plus pouring into the resources that we have now, and where I see us adding would be on support staff side.
Right.
Legal secretary, paralegal, like, I don't really see us in 12 to 18 months needing to go beyond for attorney. Like, I see our focus needing to be on support staff.
I totally agree that support staff, and I see under that, this is, 1 is support for Diana, that's immediate.
Yes.
I see some type of support, just to be frank, that could be needed for Lee. Not necessarily a paralegal, but somebody that, some under support for her. I'll be frank, you need help,
Who would you just point to?
Kelly.
Okay.
And so those are, and this is, I've shared this with Kelly, and I think I've shared it with Spencer. What I feel right now in our firm, very exposed. And what I mean by that is that if somebody left,
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
I mean,
gaps,
you know,
yeah,
we're
we
in
get
trouble.
gaps, yeah.
And so that's the other thing is getting somewhat of a bench
Right.
that can be
Brought up.
in now, that if there was a hole, and I hope nobody does leave, but
It's a pipeline, you need a
It could
pipeline of
happen.
people and you.
so those are things that I would, and this is where one of the areas that Kelly and I disagree on is, I mean, just as far as, comes to the reality versus the vision, is those are things that I see are needs. And so then the question is, how do we financially support,
And that's the reality.
and that's, there's the reality, is how do we financially do that? And with the resources, because, you know, we bring in all this new staff, well, they don't just come in.
Have nowhere to
We
sit.
know what to do, you know, we don't bring in off the street a lead.
Right.
Or a dyno, I mean, it just,
That's
it's
right,
rare,
nobody
we
does.
can't find it, and so, you know, that's,
See, we got down off the street.
Well, not really, it's on the homeschool co-op. So, but that's what I mean, it's just hard.
Right, well, you gotta grow up, yeah, I mean,
And
they
so
gotta
those
grow
are
up,
things
right?
that, and that's how we've trained, like, I think with the exception of maybe Christie, I don't think any of the paralegals have gone to school. And that's what we just teach them our way. Now, if we could get a, skilled paralegal, I mean, that's great. It's just the market for it is,
Well, that's a reality, right? I mean, because that's what you're always doing. You're always throwing all the balls up in the air, and this is my wish, but this is my reality. This is what I'd like to see, but this is what I have. And so, the thing is, the whole purpose of this afternoon was just to speak that out loud, right? So, let's write something down so that everyone can say, okay, so I see, like Tyler just said, I had no idea that, you were looking at doing a free clinic, or that you were, so that's this is the whole purpose. Let's get all of this out, let's talk about it, and some of the stuff may fall by the wayside, but at least we all kind of know a direction, right? Beth, you've not said anything?
Just gleaning.
You're just leaning, okay, alright. I understand. Anybody else? So that's 1 year. So then after 1 year, what comes? 90 days. We've already done our 90 days, right? We just did rocks. So it goes from, there's the 1 year plan. Now we need to look at, now it says issues. I don't want to talk about issues. I want to talk about obstacles. So has anyone ever done a SWOT plan? Anybody know what I mean?
witnesses. Strengths, weaknesses.
Oh, I thought you said witnesses. I was like, oh,
Weaknesses.
What is this?
Attitudes, tempers, no, I
Weaknesses.
SWOT,
Opportunity.
strengths,
Opportunities.
weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Okay? Let's do that real quick. Do a SWOT for me. Take a piece of paper and do a SWOT.
You're talking about like to achieve this 1 year, I mean, SWOT in terms of,
Yeah, I mean SWOT in terms of your 1 year plan.
Our 1 year plan, let's say that 1 year
No.
plan.
Well, actually, I would prefer you to do it for the 3 year myself. I'd like you to give me a SWOT on the 3 year plan, which was have 2 offices. And remember, the 3 year plan includes the 1 year, right? So that assumes that you're gonna train up, you're gonna onboard, you're gonna complete traction, train up some support staff, and have 2 offices. That's gonna take a minute to get your head around that.
What were that O and T?
Strengths, I'm sorry.
Opportunities.
You gotta say it at least 7 times.
Strengths, weaknesses,
Okay.
Bill, strengths,
That's very
weaknesses,
true.
opportunities, and
Which is
threats.
correct. Thank particularly me.
I know, it's hard to sit. It is so hard to sit. And get up, feel free to get up and walk around. I mean, that's how I have to think. I have to walk around. You don't have to sit. Go outside and fill it out. Go in a rocking chair and fill it out.
Oh, we're doing this on our own.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can do it, why don't we do it in small
It's not a
groups?
group, it's not a group project.
You can. That may be a good idea to do it in small groups. Jasmine, you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Baby just had hiccups and I got hiccups.
Oh.
Or half the hiccups.
So we can do this together?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about that?
Phil's the right one. Okay, so why don't we do that?
Y'all need to compromise.
Phil, you can come up with good stuff.
I'm
I'm
telling
getting over here to come in
Hey,
paper.
Christie, why don't you work with this group right here and do the SWOT analysis? Greg, why don't you work with that side of the table and do the SWOT analysis?
Presence.
Or maybe
we
we'll
already
just
have a
leave you out.
presence in the county.
Why don't we go
We're
from
looking to
Tyler?
expand to have enough staff to move people.
Yeah, get together, get in the middle
Especially
of
if we had
I've
two
never been
board
good at
attorneys
team
and
projects.
You're gonna do teamwork.
Like in high school, where you gotta like learn
everybody here.
He's not a team player.
I only did
It's
design
the
projects.
Yeah, I did. I was
I
in
didn't
the-
work with that, I did
I was very-
traffic trust to carry the product. I mean, to-
To do all the work and let you sit back and.
No, I always did that.
I mean, the strengths are just to be one of them.
Weakness?
Like, we have a passion to do it, we wanna do it. It's
Not
just-
enough people.
Desire to do it. plus
That's
okay?
the presence in those areas already.
It's kind of like I'm so over this, I was over this an hour and 20 ago, let me go, let me go.
Yeah, abilities.
Sacrifice to go.
I know, it's a different way of thinking
Which
about
would
it,
be
isn't
hard
it?
for Kusa.
My son got stuck in. Get him up, get him up, get
And
him up.
also, this is part of the strength, and it might be more of an opportunity, it's just, a lot of these counties, like they call them deserts, I mean, they just,
Yeah, that's true.
they don't have attorneys, but, some of them. Kusa does. There's some- I didn't think they did.
Not the one.
That's right.
I mean, I'm,
Really not, but I heard Phil say, you know, the willingness and the dedication. But
let me go over here and see if I can
and we have other roadblocks in our way.
So is that's considered more of a weakness?
Yeah, I know, that's all I've got, more or less. Strengths, dedication, we do have a presence, an established presence. We have the ability, we have the intelligence. We also have a reputation.
Yeah, it's in those counties too, that we're trying to, Ray has a good reputation in.
We need to talk about it.
Oh, Kusa, we jump in.
Yeah.
This is the cool group. This is the cool group.
We're the Debbie Downers over here. No, it's really not all that big. I will say, Garden, do you ever read Garden Guns? So they have always published.
You're getting answers, is what you're doing. So what have you got down? Let me
And
know,
they
look, how do you spell that?
compiled those into a book called My Goodness.
Oh, yeah,
Some years ago.
it's at
And
the end of the day,
the
it's hard, you
authors
guys, we're gonna wrap
are
up.
ridiculously incredible. That's where I pull some of my words. Like, yes.
Well, what do you understand about the dynamic of our office?
I don't,
Huh?
He's in his own office, the rest. Well, I mean, if I'm thinking about a goal, my threat would be that it fails. Failure's always, failure's a
that could be an option.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
Fear is a weakness.
The main threat's retention.
Yes.
People have retention.
I put it on. See, that's so much more eloquent than the party, which is what I put. But yeah.
If we can't get people to stay at our firm, we can't franchise. That's as simple as it is.
Oh, it's not. You're screwed.
I'm gonna get this fixed.
My main thing there is that we have to make sure,
That
if the real estate is there,
Revenue.
which we have our opportunities already branch out into the real estate.
That shit.
We have connections enough to make those connections. Nothing's happening.
Get out, walk
We
around.
have the opportunity to make those jumps. And if we want to do
we have to have time.
yes.
And that's like, when we open another office, we also have to, it can't be, sorry, we'll come back for my overwork right now.
Which is two offices. In most of the as far as retention is
Oh,
concerned.
I just had it.
And so, in Kusa, that's pretty much.
That's been one of our goals,
Okay.
that was one of our goals before you ever got to the office, we just haven't followed through.
No, don't forget, we do that again.
Now we've got the manpower to do
But
it.
that's not the.
We didn't have time.
To clean out the back room? No, church comes on Facebook, they make an appointment, they don't send it out, they talk about that, because they don't show up, and
You changed it up, I was gonna say.
Did anybody put clean up the back room and Ashland on their,
I'm working
on
I'm
the
doing,
rock?
I'm doing the scan files, but I'll do it after I have this baby.
Oh, yeah, we don't want you to go in early labor.
I think we have a plan.
Good.
For the back room?
You what?
We just need to call Georgia, Alabama
Oh, yeah.
container and then just pull it up in the back and just.
You know,
With all
you guys
those
were saying
confidential
that, that's what I was like, go get a pod. Pods don't cost anything. Throw all that stuff
Make
in
sure we
a
have the
pod.
data leak provision in our,
They're not
policies.
cost
I
that
mean,
much.
truly,
I
if
ain't
we
willing
think
to
about
put
what,
throw a
what
pod, it'll be
the
secure
the
safe.
problem is.
She said worry about it later.
Because a lot of the files in the back now need to go to a CD.
you've got to do something with
That's
all the.
I like it, I got 3 giant
That's
boxes
the
that are just
main
CD.
problem.
Well, they actually,
Need to go to a CD, they
If
said,
they're-
I'm like,
not
Well,
probably.
okay, so,
You just need to get an external hard drive, you can buy them now that
They can
are
go.
like.
that means
Whatever,
they're-
they even have now after a
okay, so
test.
legally,
Like,
you
what's
have
the
to
next
do
thing?
it.
I did so.
Okay, so you're not, what is it, 7 years for you guys too?
What's the answer to
That's,
that?
I think there's a lot more than 7 years back there.
What's I'm saying?
Oh,
There's 7 years, so, right?
There's at least 12 years back there, probably.
I think we looked at, I think we
Yeah.
looked at
You
tax laws,
can get that
2014.
scan in
You
advice.
could outsource that.
I mean, can we not just get rid of it?
Yes.
I'm saying there's a lot of files back there, and there's a lot of
Every red well.
drives and CDs that I have no clue.
Yeah, but see,
A company like
like,
Ryco or Pitney
And
Bowes,
it's
something like
overwhelming
that.
right back
I'm
there.
good with that, I say outsource it then.
I know,
That's
that's
a,
what
that's a.
Yeah.
understand, but that's not that, I mean, that's
I
just a
don't
matter
know
of
how, what,
not procrastinating and just getting it done,
We-
right?
like our paralegals and
All right.
assistants make
Bill,
copies and some
got it?
stuff,
Oh
but
my
like,
gosh.
this big
This
job,
is everything.
like,
Oh,
Ryco was in the building. Like they're, so they can,
Bill Major in writing.
like every hour, pick that stuff,
gonna write a book.
inter-office mail. They had one like their copy.
I survived another meeting that should have been an email. Oh, so, love that.
I got that from a colleague at Christmas.
Oh,
But no, my capacity in that, people make fun of it, but is, Greg and Kelly do a lot for us.
yeah,
This meeting, this investment is not just for them, it's for everybody.
right,
But when we get together and we have meetings, Kelly herself is sometimes bad about this.
yeah,
But I'm always trying to be conscientious of, it costs them a lot of money to have these 12 folks sitting around this table for 1 hour.
yeah.
And if we can,
Move the needle,
and do it, if it's
focus
something,
and do it.
if we have a meeting, it needs to have a purpose.
Right.
And it's gotta be driven, because that's costing them money, and I'm on their paycheck, and I want their life to get better,
Exactly.
and not just mine.
And that's what all this process is about, right? You're gonna meet for 1 hour, you're gonna make him stick to the agenda, knock it out, the next week, the next week, the next week, and I promise, in 6 months, this is gonna look incredibly different. Now, because you guys are doing that work anyway, but you're just doing it overlapping each other, so let's just go in a straight line and get it done.
And that's one thing
Speaking of
that
that.
is a struggle, I know, but Greg's only one guy, he can only do so much. And at some point, it's
We're
like,
overlapping on some stuff.
you gotta sleep, you need.
Which means both of us have time that's.
He can
And
tell you
Greg,
about
Greg and
every
Kelly, they don't, they
other
won't,
case, and I don't even know about it, you know what I'm saying?
Greg and Kelly won't say it, nobody will ever know exactly, because they are very humble folks, but they go above and beyond. And I think what makes this place what it is and their loyalty is people. I mean, that's 100%.
Well, when you see people give to you like that, and you have the capacity to acknowledge it, you want. And then, I always know a good culture when people.
Fix it, but at least we're addressing it.
As soon as I walk into a company, if people are protective of one another and the owner, to me, that's just like bam, bam, bam. And you guys are super protective of each other and Kelly Greg. And that probably is the best compliment that they could ever.
But in reality, I just don't like meeting with anybody.
Well,
I just, like Scrooge, no, I'm just kidding.
Hey, listen, my programmers, let me say, that thing, they didn't like to ever meet, but I tell you what, Francois came to every single meeting. And I think it was pretty much the same reason, is that, I took a chance on him and that whole thing, and I let him run it, and they were super successful. And it was kind of like, look, if you're willing to do that, we're willing to
You're
take
talking
that
to
back.
me now, right?
It all works.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's good.
I mean, if you're not changing, you're not.
We have to, we have to stay.
So you must.
In your lane.
Yes.
You gotta stay in the lane. Don't get out of the lane. Don't let anybody get out of the lane for the first while.
Yeah, we've got to stay, we've got to stay focused. We've
That's why
got
it's
to-
every 7 days you meet. You hold each other accountable. And it looks really bad. Nobody here wants to have to go in the second or third week, and when you say you're wrong, you say, no, I'm off target. I can't do it. You don't want to have to do it.
Yeah, we have to stay focused.
Right, okay, let's do a swap real quick. Whew, oh, okay. Just for a second, everybody's sitting down, right? So if you're sitting down, take your right foot and move your foot in the same direction as the clock, okay? Same direction as the clock, no different. Okay, take that same hand on that same side and draw 6 in the air. Make your foot go around.
Oh, I can't do
Go around.
What are we
Have a
doing?
hip Spencer?
Well, you set in the same direction as the clock. The clock stays still, it's the hands that move.
Oh, say that. Attorney. Good. All right, so move your foot around, right, direction of the clock, the hands of the clock, draw 6. Somebody right here can do it.
Is that what it
Yeah.
is? I'm just impressed with your balance.
You say
I
draw
can't do
six.
it, cause I'm.
Yeah, roll down, Do we move this?
No, it's gonna be going in the direction of the hand of the
It's
clock.
gonna force, your body's gonna force your foot to go
Foot
back.
to
Yeah, you can't do that, okay, now do the same thing. Make it go round with your right foot, and now draw 6 with your left.
I
You
can't
can
do
do that all day long, how come you can do that?
I can't do
You
that.
can't do it with the same side. One side of your brain cannot do opposing things. That's why you need the left and the right side of your brain. You cannot. So, there you go. You can't be happy and sad with the same part of your brain. Doesn't work. Right? You can't be mad and glad with the same part of your brain. It doesn't work. Alright, here we go. SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Everyone, as I was hearing you guys prepare for this, I think people took different takes on it, and that's fine. That's what it was all about. I didn't give a lot of conversation around it for a reason. I wanted it to be very open-ended. What do you, now remember, this was the goal for 1 year and 3 years moving forward. What did we think the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats might be? Let's start with the threats first.
What's our threat? Resources.
I'll put one.
Yeah.
Money.
Money.
Not enough money to do it, okay? Absolutely, that's gotta be number 1.
Our-
What
What if our?
That's all I had.
In
All I had was the money.
Our group, conclusion on that was retention, like if people don't stay,
Yes.
then you can't
You
expand.
start the process over again, right? You're starting from ground zero again. So if the whole idea is to onboard them kind of soon, your support people, your paralegals, your whatever, the whole intention is that you got them where you need them come year 3. If you onboard them and they leave after month 18 or 19, you're back to ground zero again, right? So retention, perfect, that's excellent, okay. So money is a threat, person retention is a threat. What else?
I said, I guess it's sort of related, but dissatisfaction with compensation and benefits.
Yeah, I think that would probably tie into retention, but yeah, so. I'm gonna put benefits, but to me it's more retention. I'll put benefits, et cetera, okay?
Greg, you can't quit your own business. Just kidding.
This is odd with the new entries.
New what now? Oh, a new like competition.
Yeah.
Alright. What else? Bad reputation, getting a bad reputation, something happens that, right? Don't you love the internet, right? You can have a mistake and 30 seconds later, everybody and their brother know, right? That would be a threat, right?
Well-
If something happened,
This is, I'll give a reputational issue, we just talked about this the other day, is that generally people come to me.
Right.
That's who, they're coming to hire Greg Varner.
right,
But the way we're operating right now is, after I get the case.
you're farming it out, sure,
So they're
absolutely.
working it, and all of a sudden, we develop a reputation that you're really not getting Greg, you're getting
Right.
a, brand new lawyer that doesn't know what they're doing. And that would be, that's a reputational threat.
Yeah.
In between we're starting, like, some of the associates are starting to bring in their own cases, but the concern is, like, that takes a long time. You know,
But it does, yeah,
and
it takes a
so-
long time to build up a clientele,
And the-
absolutely.
In between of just, people.
Anybody have any other threats? I mean, those are some real big ones right there, right? What about the threat of there's just no place to go, like, no logistic, sorry, brick and mortar comes up,
Yeah, well, and we Dowie, that could be an issue with a lake, I mean,
alright?
there's not as much.
Alright, so real estate could be a threat in that there just isn't like a good place for you guys to land. Tell me some strengths.
Passion.
Passion? Okay. Give me some other strength.
We have great lawyers.
You have great people.
Perseverance.
Okay. What else?
I think there is a commitment to core values. Things we said, it's just not words.
Right. Core values, all right?
Our reputation is our strength right now.
You're missing a big one. We just did it.
Vision.
Your strength is you have a vision. You wanna know how many law firms you can go into that don't have a vision? Maybe one person has a vision, but it's not been communicated throughout the company. You guys have a vision, you know where you're going, there's strength in that. What about culture? I think that's one of your greatest strengths. I think the fact that you have each other's backs, and you're committed to each other, and you like where you're going, and you like the person you are when you come to work, maybe not when you're working that 23rd hour of the day, I'm not there, but you do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't dread going to work.
Right.
Not like you hate going to work.
Right, except for the 23rd hour, the 24, I get that, but yeah, exactly.
It's also a threat though, to some extent though, 'cause I was just, what I was talking to Greg about is this whole plan that it takes away from our close-knit culture.
That's true.
What the
Because
plan
we're sending
does,
people off, right? It's partly a threat too, just because it takes
To
away
culture?
it takes away from the incentive to send people off because it takes away from our want to
But
be.
I will also say that,
Yeah,
like,
it's lonely.
You mean it's like employees that we're sending employees that?
Like, if the goal would be
Like
to
the
send a
separation,
full-time
The separate
paralegal,
us after we've got
and so
so.
now we
Right.
have somebody who's normally in an office full of people on a daily basis.
right,
In an office.
You're
by-
splitting up the family.
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
The family's growing up and going to college.
but it, I mean, it's different, like, I mean, you have the Ashland and the Nares office, but I mean.
It's one office.
We surprisingly have, I mean, it's fairly unified for us to be an hour and a half away, really,
I agree.
yeah.
You
So,
just
I
have to
mean,
be
I think you have to be
intentional.
more intentional about it, but will.
And we
it'll
spoke
look
about
different.
It's just one of those things
It will
that
look
you have
different.
to, yeah, you have
It
to
will look
intentionally.
Yeah, you have to do that intentional, right, you have to be intentional about staying together, I mean, staying close, staying in communication, still having that vibe, still doing group things, team building, all of those things. All right, give me some weaknesses.
Money. Like,
Revenue.
Level of experience, you know, with
What,
what.
Lack of experience? I mean, it's just so that, I mean, it's not like you onboarded everyone at the exact same stage. You've got varying people, you will always, the entire life of your team, your company have varying levels of people with experience, right? So someone's been on 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, okay, so experience, so weaknesses, experience levels vary, right? All right, what else?
Along with that, the lack of procedures, and I'm talking about case procedures.
Well, that's gonna, okay, so
That's a weakness.
internal procedures, correct?
Yeah, like,
Which you're gonna fix with traction, correct?
yes,
We're starting on that Friday.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I thought it was gonna be done.
Friday said his part was gonna be
Me and
done.
Bailey may have ours knocked
All
out.
right, well, okay, what else? What else is a weakness?
Revenue,
A
the
bottleneck could be.
A bottleneck. Yeah. You can't fix what you don't acknowledge, right?
Well, and part of that's time. And anytime anything's bottleneck, generally, because everybody is dedicated and everybody's willing to do it, it's just, and it's not always even, well, that's not what I wanna do, so I'm gonna procrastinate. It's just,
Oh, absolutely.
we run on a schedule, and everybody runs on a schedule, but our deadlines constantly shift. Your
Exactly.
priorities are always getting reprioritized.
Right.
And
Because of things that are out of your hands too, right? Something else has to happen and then it comes back to you and
Right.
they set the agenda and the timeline and that's a constant changing, right? So there are several types of businesses that have what we call randomness and you guys are one of those. Law firms, doctors firms, if you have a pizza place, chances are, and that's all you sell, chances are the person coming through the door wants a pizza, right? If you are an orthopedic surgeon and you specialize in knees, 99% of the people coming through your door have a problem with their knee, otherwise why would they be there? You guys have randomness. You don't ever know what's coming through the door. You don't know what day, you don't, no one called up and says, I'm divorcing him next Thursday, book me an appointment. Well, maybe they did, but you know what I mean? You don't know, it's called randomness. And you have to be able to embrace randomness. And that's half of what makes everything kind of shifting in that paradigm, is constant realigning, which makes what you guys have to do just a little bit harder. That's why you have to make sure that you shore up those foundational things, and you've got those tight as you possibly can, so you can accept randomness. Because that's what makes your business what it is. That's what makes you grow, and that is what makes you guys so good at what you do. All right? What else? Because of what you said down here, Tyler, I'm gonna put culture up here. And the only reason I'm putting that as a weakness is for the exact same reason that you put that as a threat, right? We don't want to have, we want it, but we don't want it enough to go and to do that because we like what we have. So that too can be an internal weakness. What about opportunities?
I have one more weakness.
Oh, please.
Fatigue.
Oh, that's as real as it gets,
Amen.
right? Fatigue. I have to watch that, I spell things in French all the time, don't think about it. So, yeah, it's a good excuse, I'm sorry, I'm doing that in French. I don't have to show the French way of spelling that. That'll work. All right, so fatigue is a weakness, right? Can you stop fatigue? Can you change fatigue?
A big part of that is retention and having people on board, more staff, that's.
And does it help that if you're super busy right now and it's just chaotic and there's lots of noise and I mean, but you're getting stuff done and you're successful, does it help knowing that sort of relief is in the future, like it's on, like, you know, we're going to try and do that and that's where we're headed? Is there some kind of relief thinking, yeah, you know, this isn't an endless hamster cycle here, you know? We are going in a direction that's going to alleviate some of that we're taking some steps doing what we're doing today. Does that help psychologically, Amy?
To be honest, we've been heading in that direction and the business is just
Outgrowing it.
outpaced.
Outpace your ability to keep up. I understand, yeah.
But I don't think that just continues to be the case.
Well, I told you that marketing lady came out in the hallway and she said, we're gonna do a special, and the whole hallway said, no specials, no 50% off, no, we're done, we can't take any more work. And that's when I said, why am I in business then if we can't take more business? All right, opportunities.
It kind of goes to reputation, but more so Greg, like Coosa and Randolph,
Yeah,
we
you
have an opportunity to go into that market very easily.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
like
it
I
would
said,
have to
be
be great, is
accepted.
what you're saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
be accepted. Well,
I don't think-
Randolph,
I mean, like,
Randolph
I
is
think-
more so Greg,
Okay,
because, I mean, he started off there, and that's kind of,
okay,
but I mean, Coosa, any one of us could go over there.
okay.
I mean, it takes a little time.
Okay, so what words do you wanna put around that?
Open communities, I mean, like.
Sorry?
Open communities.
But develop bridges.
Yeah, we have connections there.
Yeah, so, bridge,
Well connected.
yeah, all right.
That's agree. Also, we just talked about like, once we were in those communities, like, you know, now we do a decent amount of governmental, like, county commissions, municipality work, and once we were in those places, we could pick up another commission or other municipalities from us around.
So that'd be like retainers, right? So you like government retainers kind of thing? And that is lovely. I love my government work. It's very good.
I mean, this is kind of
Excellent.
elementary, but, I mean, increased
Revenue.
revenue because we're increasing, you know, locations and offices.
And that's part of the reason I think it's necessary for us to go into other geographical markets. I mean, I've said it for a long time, I don't know how much more business we can get out of Clay County. I mean, we keep getting more, but
Keep saying that.
You keep
it just, there's a point that we reach a
Saturation.
market cap
Yeah.
of what you can do in a single county, so.
Right. But you're still gonna have all that randomness coming in though, right? So, you know, there's gonna be just sort of built in because of randomness, but, okay.
Under opportunities in Rockford, the market's gonna be fully open, Frank Till's retiring, Mallory Bourne's going on the bench, there's no attorneys left.
Sounds curvy, right?
And that was where, Greg?
That's Rockford.
Rockford.
Brings in more business.
In Wedowee, nobody does what we do.
So in Udality, it would be unique, right?
Yeah, I mean, they all niche, and then you've got appointment hounds, and that's it.
Right. Okay. All right.
And on the numbers, in Rockford has one attorney for every 3,200 people. Wedowee has one for every 2,800. And a legal desert is one to 750.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
They're
So
wide.
they're extra dry, they're Arizona dry.
One to 450. It's not great.
Anyone else wanna put, does this help any? Just doing the SWOT help a little bit? Just, I mean, we're just trying to put words around things, right? Phil, do you have anything else? Anybody have anything else?
I think that, there may be an opportunity for an untapped labor market in Randolph County because of the connections that there may be some.
Do you mean like onboarding, like people
Yes.
to work? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so a new
Well,
lady,
I mean,
yeah.
I used to work in that area with young people.
And there's the area here that they don't utilize. I mean, there is a school that has students that they send out for, you know what I mean, for work. You got the people that need to do stuff like that, but through the school.
Oh, like internships and stuff like that,
Internships,
right? And get credit, what school is that?
As that, Central, and they also use it at your school,
Right.
yeah.
So they send out students to work for you guys? Or
I think
people
that's
just
like
summer
summer
school?
school.
Like Tessa does, the co-op thing.
We have to kind of be careful though about
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because
with
of the
privacy,
age.
that's different, yeah, you guys have a lot of privacy
Yeah.
issues, so, not issues, but just would be
Yeah.
concerns, right, you can't just, yeah. But I mean, as far as just somebody cleaning up the back room and doing some of the heavy lifting for things like that, you could certainly use up some student resources, couldn't you? Okay, alright. Okay, tell me about marketing, and then we're gonna wrap up. Tell me what your current market strategy is. None, because we're too busy.
Market strategy?
Market, what are you doing marketing wise?
We do sort of Facebook
Sometimes.
and, blogging.
On Facebook? You do Facebook blog or another blog?
No, we do another blog, but we do Facebook.
And then you do, okay, you have an external, okay. What else?
That's it.
There's no time, and there,
Utilize Instagram.
she already hit on,
We do Instagram?
We do Instagram.
Oh, that's right. Tyler does TikTok.
Showing your age, Greg.
Hey, cool.
Instagram,
I know Greg.
We just updated our
website, that's what I was gonna say, you guys have that
which
website.
actually brings, I mean,
I'm timing pictures.
in and of itself was a.
It really
Okay, you have website and you have bios, right? Which really helps.
Honestly, Lisa, if you look at like our business, our increase in business, I mean,
It's after the website got
it
up
really
again.
was
Yep.
like,
Oh yeah, you don't have to do a lot of marketing in your field, you don't. Because when people need you, they need you, right?
Well, I think some, like, word of mouth, our reputation, and also, I mean, JC, something I would like to do, but
Network.
time is always a constraint, but professional organizations, I mean, that really,
Yes, like
And
going and
having-
speaking to professional organizations, being
And
on the
she-
radio,
Being-
doing some kind of,
being involved, I mean, it's not
Being-
even
yeah.
necessarily
like
speaking, it's just one of
community
those,
involvement.
But particularly when you're in our market and you're aiming, I think this goes hand in hand with Greg's whole vision, of what it's been for a while, of underserved legal communities,
Right.
that you'd be surprised at how many folks know somebody there that's like, well, I know an attorney
Yeah,
there
yeah,
in that county
Yeah.
that can actually help you with that.
Right.
It's not where I practice, I'm in Birmingham, or Shelby, or Columbia, or wherever, but it's a big part of it.
well, in small rural communities too, your ball field, right? You have a big sign at the ball field, right? Do people have shirts with your name on it? I
we're
don't know.
about to, sponsor Jameson's T-ball team.
See, things like that mean a whole lot to a community. I mean, personally, at the hardware store, we probably spend $200 a month on something for the community, whether it's T-ball, whether it's baseball, whether it's central, whether it's, I mean, you name it, we get hit up for it. I mean, all day, every day. Rare a day go by that we don't. So, community involvement, right? And what else?
We
You've got
have
enough
plans,
work right now.
we have plans to, do some radio advertisement, and we talked about even doing like a little legal segment, like a podcast kind of
Right.
thing that to maybe air there as well.
Because there's something to be said for, you know, stuff like the radio where you even just go in maybe, you know, once a month and, you know, have a, you know, Gray Varner corner, you know, where people can call in and it's free and they can ask questions and, you know, you can whatever.
We're gonna do that TV show in Birmingham.
Hey, I know that seems, but do you know my brother,
Oh, my goodness.
he's a chiropractor in Calhoun County, and that, when he
Yeah.
first started, he was on Trinity's, whatever, something minute, and that's not a bad, I mean, that really helps
Well,
his business.
what it does is it gives you instant credibility.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter, you know what they say, you know, it's on Facebook, it must be true. It's the same, if somebody hears you on the radio and you're just doing whatever, they're gonna, oh my gosh, well, they would never have him on if he wasn't like, you know, an expert in this field. So all of a sudden, it's instant credibility. Some of those things just really do. So if you do go into another market, that's one thing to think about.
I think after the swap shop in Clay County, they need to have a legal hour where people call in for legal.
That's right, but the lawnmower rider just bought doesn't work.
We've said if there was a call in, we would only do it if they gave questions ahead of time, and we were
Yeah.
not talking to live callers, we would just address
Yeah.
radio
Right.
questions, because we could have a disgruntled client, the
Oh,
caller.
yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. That's the only way you could do it.
We
You
could-
could just
we
be
could-
topic related.
You could just
you
get
know,
people to
the
read
state-
questions and feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can It'd be money. Yeah.
Hey, it's that one question on.
You know, it has to feel.
Yeah.
Filter the question first.
That's right, that's right.
I just don't know if God's country's gonna do that, huh?
Well, Kevin Newman,
Yeah.
change it.
Right.
Questions
And you're
about
there
estate
going,
planning.
no, okay, we'll take this one. But it does have an instant
Stop him on the
credibility.
street.
All right,
Call me and give him the phone.
time? Ooh, yeah, I think
You need a tagline.
oh my gosh, okay, guys, we gotta wrap up, I'm sorry, I
Next time,
kept you late.
stop and be like,
I
hey,
didn't
I'm
mean
calling.
to.
us all.
I'm just kidding. I've been waiting
Yes,
for him to
ma'am.
call me
But
back
that's
like a
what,
month and a half.
how do we keep everybody
I was resolved
motivated?
his own problem.
I mean, I know having these weekly meetings, but how do you keep that motivation, yes, that we want this, and, because, you know, sometimes you can start it and you get it, and it's like it just,
Invigorates you and then you're.
It's a better life.
so how do we keep that motivation?
Well, I think there are two things you can do. One is, you know, when you meet weekly, it's just like, well, you've gotta, and it'll be up to, you know, to Greg to kind of, you know, direct that, how that, all that's gonna go. But also, that's why you meet quarterly, right? That's every 3 months. So every 3 months, we just do a total reset. Where are we? What worked? What didn't work? You know, let's see some results. Are we not seeing results? Why aren't we seeing results? And some of that's my job. That is my job, to come in and say, okay, what do we need? What can I do? How can I help? So I think that you're gonna find you're not gonna be not motivated for a while. I understand what you're saying though. This doesn't get lost in the fray because it's in your face all the time. Your issues, the things that you're trying to do, your rocks, the movement, you get results back. But I do understand what you're saying. Those are about the only things you can do right now because you guys haven't gotten into the groove of seeing results yet. So if you'll just give it just a little bit of time, I understand what you're saying. And at our first quarterly, we can do something around the motivation part of it and see where you guys are and how you're feeling. But that's what all I got, right? For the motivation.
No, I mean, it's more prosperous. We gotta, to reach these goals, improvements have to be made. Some things have to change. And we're not gonna get there if we don't do it.
See,
I
think the
I say we
motivation
should
is
board a
this.
meeting because,
Yeah.
like,
We need to go ahead and put the date on it.
yes,
No.
I say that we definitely, because
For
we're
your
the world.
year.
Oh, I know. Oh, no. I mean, this
Yeah.
one changed 3 times. I know.
Yes.
So
May
let's
May
make
9th is 3 months. Is the 90 days.
Right. So let's put out a date right now, write it in your book, and you guys can change, but let's just write a date. Give me,
But
that's
a Tuesday.
Well,
It needs to be a Friday.
should it be 30 days from Friday? I mean, 90 days from Friday?
90 days from Friday. Yeah.
Is it Saturday wrong?
no, not for me. If I'm on, I'm on.
But
We're all working on a Saturday anyway.
You're all right.
We're all working anyway.
And I'm being really selfish, but I would really like for us to do it before I have to be gone for a few weeks in the summer. That's
Well, it has to be, right? We have to, can't not
We
do
need to
this.
do
It
it
has to
after
be
January
in 90 days.
Which is April.
Make sure when
So 90 days would be the 13th. That would be.
Is that Friday the 13th?
And you're here.
Hey Siri, what is 90 days from today?
How does your cell phone work?
We're doing 90 days.
Oh, it's in, on it.
Siri's on, all right.
First one's the day
Okay, so path forward, you guys, everybody's gotta run, path forward.
It's the second Friday.
So when we meet in 90 days, we're gonna complete, refine the vision, anything, we're gonna make sure that that's tight, we're gonna score your quarterly rocks. How did you do? Did you like the meetings? What was working? What wasn't working? What issues have we resolved? What rocks are rolling over? And they better be pebbles when they move over. They shouldn't be rocks anymore, even if they have to move over. They should be pebbles. And we're gonna set your second quarterly rocks. Okay, we're gonna do this totally different though, the second go around. It's not gonna look like this. So, do you have a date, Beth?
I'm just trying, well, they just say,
All right.
Just look at the second.
yeah, so.
I wanna thank you guys for your time. I wanna thank you for your attention. I appreciate all of this. I hope that you found this somewhat helpful. If not, I know it looks like we put some work on some people's plates, but believe me, in the end, I can guarantee you, as you're moving out, it's gonna be worth it. So I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate Beth letting us be here, and I will be in the office, and I will help Greg with the first couple of meetings. Make sure he's got the groove, and I will see you guys in 90 days.
Thank you, Lisa.
How's that?
I
Thank
think
you.
May
Yeah.
6th is gonna be 90. May 8th is 90 days from today.
May 8th, what day of the week?
That's the third.
Does anybody want a Saturday?
The 8th is on a Sunday, the 6th is the Friday.
What'd you say, April 6th?
You're on your honeymoon. That's it, your honeymoon.
You are not. Yes.
May 6th.
Maybe.
Friday.
Yeah.
I'll come back Saturday, April 30th.
Okay. So May 6th? Is that what we said?
I
Yeah,
can be there.
we just said it and we go whether everybody be here or
Doesn't
not.
matter.
May 6th.
What, you agree?
You give us your touch list.
May 6th.
May 6th.
And what day of the week?
That's a Friday. That's the Friday. That's day 91 or something like that.
May 6th.
And are you cooking again?
Sure I am. Sure I am. Yes, I will.
For sure we're meeting here, right?
That's, you can't
We're
remember.
meeting here?
I thought that's the deadline to have the rocks eaten, or whatever.
I think we should do something around that. I got it now. We'll have something special to eat. All right.
I want some rock candy. We'll have rock candy that day.
We'll go,
May 8th.
we'll go,
Yeah.
we'll go play in the rocks, that's the call.
But all of us go sit on the rocks at the.
May 6th.
At the,
May 6th. May 6th.
May 6th.
Run. I'm so sorry. Go, go, go.
Be careful.
Go, go, go. Sorry. Yeah, I'll put everything out
see.
Okay, is it a box?
No, it's just two rooms.
Hey,
And
can we
just set my keys in one.
talk to Nero's,
Okay.
Nero's office manager about moving the bathroom light switch from behind the door? You never noticed that? It drives me insane.
Are you headed out
To the jail.
Bye, Christie.
to jail? Bye, Fred.
Y'all say,
In a minute,
hey
anyway.
Greg,
I've got some paper, can I put it in your car?
Oh, yes.
you want some back
Is it in the car?
Yes, it is.
Y'all say this, take a bite.
Thank you, Lisa, it's a pleasure.
Oh, pleasure, Christie, I'll see you later. Okay, see you soon, bye, Greg, be careful.
You don't need it. You don't? You need to go pick up baby. Baby.
May 6th. Spencer, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Lisa, it was fantastic. I'm not gone.
Oh,
I
okay.
have several friends.
Mama, I saw her, what you talking about? It has, hey, wrap it, and then wrap it, put your roll hot, and then wrap it again, because it'll get soggy. Please, you want to push your plate down? Are you sure? You sure? I've got this some already. This is all, this whole batch, let's.
Okay, we need this. We gotta take that.
For somebody, right? All the items, I got it. Well, but we can.
Oh, God.
I mean, just, if everybody else takes something, I'm gonna take this lady.
You supposed to be in here?
Yeah, right.
I've never been here before.
You got to get out. You can't be in here. You can't be in here. You gotta go outside. Okay? Well, that's supposed to be out of camp, dog. Well, not a camp, dog. You did get out. She don't know. She never comes. This is Mama. She's the one that had the 9 puppies. She looks like a officer. That's what I'm gonna say she is. She's an officer. Yes, I'm like,
Oh,
she's like,
hey, since Dinah's not feeling well, it may not
Come
be.
here, Mama.
Is it all tomorrow? You need to do overnight or something? Is that a problem?
that's not a problem. Tell me, hey, let me get this dog out.
Oh,
Come
yes.
on, Mama. Come on, baby. Come on.
It's all good.
Yeah, I was gonna see whether or not Betsy wanted to, if she
All right,
had written all that down.
Right there, specific instructions.
Okay.
I'm not sure, I was just gonna keep those 3, I wasn't sure. I think she was busy writing away, I just didn't wanna. Stick those there.
Y'all, you need cinnamon rolls, something to take that? You want to play? Are you sure? You want some sweets? Are you sure? Well, I just asked if you needed it, asked if you wanted it. I won't take it.
Somebody's phone is blinking and
Oh,
blopping and
Christie, is that your phone, Christie?
Christy left, I
Oh,
think.
It is. I'm gonna-
no, not Christie.
Jasmine. Oh, I just thought my pens away. You got a pen?
Here's a pen or a pencil, doesn't matter.
No.
Here's a pen.
Oh, here's a pen.
Good. Hey. I like that.
Beth, you want me to go ahead and make the check out?
Sir, maybe come out there. It's hard to hear in there when all this machine.
You want me to go ahead and make the check out?
Yeah, I would rather you
Okay.
do that and just leave me instructions of what I need to do. So we got snacks for our office, so. Hey, and these will last a long time, they'll last a long time. Ooh, not very long. I did.
Whoa.
Dad, can you look for cookies? You sure? Well, thank you, John cookie? John?
Oh, I just messed that up.
Well, I mean.
Well, too much for that.
Okay. Huh? No, what do you want?
Well, he want pineapple too?
But seriously, hardly eats too much junk. We take all these. And I've been working on a mass quantity snickerdoodle recipe, trying to make it big batches, which is kind of hard to do. You know what I'm saying, at times? So he's been having to sample. We haven't sampled the last 2 or 3 items.
Do you wanna leave that water, you may need that water.
Oh, get salad. Salad. It needs to be, look, it needs to be tonight.
Uh,
Alright, I'm glad you said that.
That's whatever he gonna.
Put this
Ow,
over.
that's salad.
Phil, when you get back from your honeymoon,
Chicken, you want pineapple here?
So our wedding's April 30th. So we'll be gone
Well, this
We're
is
leaving
salad
that
and
s-
chicken for your.
that Monday. So May the 2nd through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Come back to 7th.
well, this meeting will probably get changed 3 times, so there's a good chance we'll be here. That's usually the way that works.
what time did they eat, Joe?
I called yesterday and went at like 4:15. Normally we don't let you at 5, but you called. Yeah, I talked to you yesterday. Chill.
What was that, the opinion she with her resume?
I didn't read it.
Yeah, I know, but why?
Well, you wrote it.
Oh, I got
When
it.
she worked for, yeah, she jacked.
That doesn't sound right.
Okay, cool.
Now, Sherry, y'all, I know y'all got.
Okay. The real genius messed up the check. But the real genius messed up the check.
I can write another
So,
one.
yeah.
Write it like you want it. Here,
I
don't you
will,
want to
then
get
go
you
over
some?
to Hamilton, and then overnight.
Does he want some salad?
Have you seen this book, Phil, since you're sitting here waiting on
You got that
everybody?
now?
I have not.
That is Varner Traction. The, Get a Grip is kind of a fun book because it takes a fictitious company through implementing, you know, just a made-up people with made-up attitudes, and made-up, you know, but it at least kind of shows you kind of what that would look like.
Right.
Now, they,
Seriously.
we kind of customized that a bit because there's some things in there
No,
that.
bring it to me. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, I see
You
it.
just turn it
But
back
some
over.
of it's hard.
And you put, grab those creamers and.
Yes, I appreciate you doing this. For sure.
Well, we, you know, I'll be honest.
And she can talk before she put it out.
No, man, let's go.
Well, Kelly and I used to be in like a club, like a community club, and that's how I met her. you know,
Yeah,
years ago when I lived here. And I was like, oh, she's just the sweetest lady I've ever met. And then I just started, you know, serving these pants and stuff. She's got a business in Ashland, it's just never occurred to me. I just think it's so time. They got
Yeah.
And you guys don't need any more on your plate. So there's this fine balance here, right?
I got it.
So it's just getting rid of some of that stuff.
And
that
what
just needs to be
matter is this?
handled,
Roll up
you
some,
know?
oh, you put that,
And then you
yeah.
guys have.
That $1,000 check that Greg brought back, yeah.
Wow.
That-
This is still that cheap. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, when I went there.
Got it. Okay. Did Christy leave?
Yeah, she was leaving when she took my stuff out for me, or she
You
took
ready,
out
Nicole?
the paper.
Do you have, any spare 30 minutes? I appreciate it. Otherwise, I won't be back here till Tuesday. Hal, you're stressing me out. This it was fantastic meeting you. I very much appreciate it. I look forward to it.
Sorry?
Do you want your book?
Well, you can read it if you want.
I would like it.
Would you like to? Good, good. Well, you know what? You might enjoy this one more.
And we'll see you said you're gonna be in and out of the office too.
Yes, I am, yeah, yeah. So take this seat, you'll enjoy that. Yeah? Yeah. That one's a fictitious company we're just going through. So notice, there's some things that, you know, we're just kind of not doing, it's just not what you guys need, so wow.
Well, that's what I like to call it, defects or, obviously things that happen.
Well, that's not, yeah, honestly.
No, yeah, and software programming, you may have a few things that's gotta be fixed,
Well,
or
that's
everything
fine.
work right. I mean,
And
you know.
what he said he wanted to go down, so I was like, oh yeah, I read that book 10 years ago, so I was going, no, don't like that, not ready for that, go, 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 go.
I'll come back and work. You only do so many, a lot of coffee. A lot of times we use the trees and put it on, a lot of overlap and right.
That's right, it's the gap and the overlap, and you don't need to remember that, right? You want to do the good stuff, you want to be doing stuff that
Well,
you're
then
school.
you're ready.
I'm almost there, I'll just, finish.
That'll get better too. I love those.
If I go home, I'm just gonna sleep around or something.
Okay.
That thing's not really,
Put it all out, shower.
change a little bit.
I've always had that heart for.
So the planners are.
Well, I mean, he never said it was strictly, but he would always say, I'm not to offer service if we can. Underserved, I'm rural, I'm.
Now, whether I stay awake is.
And that's always.
is a whole nother story.
You tell him, night, Ryan.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going
Of
home.
course, yeah, it goes.
Before he tells you, before he tells you, I'm tired.
But you got to be my home, so I won't be able to use the
Really.
excuse of I get to go home, so. Might as well get started. Is, he does like cinnamon rolls. Yeah, that's one thing, that's one thing you want to do.
Watch the
Just
time.
send the rest of
Energetic.
Yeah.
But pushing back and bringing out and certain they're the owners of business, everybody respects that and respects their lane.
Right.
But
8 o'clock at night.
sometimes.
He's just bored,
It
right?
right?
He's like, what's the cinnamon roll, Mom? I'm like,
Well, it doesn't, you're not pinpointing anyone out, you're just saying it's the thing, and somebody's gotta take ownership of the thing, and there's not a person attached to it.
You might not go back.
Everybody needs 100, everybody has got improvements to make. but-
Exactly.
You might not go back.
Well, this is all round.
Feels better.
Yeah.
Feels better, cinnamon rolls.
So I'm looking forward to that.
In my way of being organized, not necessarily,
Yeah, exactly.
it's a little bit, that's why I keep my stuff.
Yes, I need to.
I do the running, right, my time, I don't completely have time. I'm pretty, start stuff.
Oh, that's the hardest thing to do.
But I write down, just like about a minute. And- But then I keep with the running log, it's not the most efficient, but then I don't put in my time for the week, and I'll do like all 5 days at once. But then I realize that if I didn't create a task or set something,
Then it reminds you to do that, yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it's my fault. It's my cell phone, that's me, so.
Yeah, but that's the process that works for you, so that's, that, you know.
They did.
It is a little redundant, but
Leave some popcorn on.
I'm
Yeah,
always,
but that's-
I also know that I'm prone to, if I'm not that organized,
And he's like,
things to fall into cracks. And I just, redundancy, what gives me peace of mind?
and then you
That's
might
what
go
it
to
needs,
my
peace of mind.
That's what it makes you.
Yes,
Then
you
you
guys,
look
thank
forward
you
to
so much.
Taylor loses that fight. It was up to me.
Hey, Phil, that probably has all sorts of notes in there.
And then it loses that fight.
That's what I do with my books, I know the life.
I get it.
She's like, I didn't food. My boy wakes up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll see y'all.
Okay.
Gary.
Hey, is there a comment paper?
Yeah.
Seven,
777?
713.
What?
That's what you said.
7713?
You'll have a signal by the time you turn.
I already know what you're talking about.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Tyler, I want you to go and do what you gotta do to that. Go play with the kid, as you call it.
You were up late?
Yeah, he didn't go to bed last night.
I was up last night. All right.
No, you're not.
Wise, we're good. Very caffeinated.
You're not really all right. You're
Very Catholic.
You're surviving, not thriving.
Yeah, I was just
Come on,
Exactly.
come on.
I'm not doing that thriving part very well.
Give me some lemonade for the road.
Please do.
I'll see y'all.
Bye.
Y'all safe.
I actually got a.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Tyler, thank you so much.
No, thank
Being
you.
so engaged.
I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate it so much.
I want us to.
You're gonna make
What are you doing? Come on.
You got it.
Oh, you're gonna get trouble. You're gonna get trouble.
Hey, I'm gonna do what I know, that's why I went to read this morning.
Hey.
Mama, come on.
Okay, okay, come on.
I'll get that.
I know.
Let me know. You know what I mean?
She looks like a boxer kid. Mama, come here. Mama. You got a number for Bobby?
Do this in the meantime. Yeah, relax. In your phone.
You got a number? Y'all get it off on me, I'm gonna tell you. Is that enough, Mama?
Tyler, thank you.
I did.
So that mama dog was dropped off here. And with two puppies, that was about nine, so about the size, not quite, she's not. Anyway, so we had her and two puppies, grown, we had grown puppies. And we realized about a day later that she was pregnant. And about 2 weeks later, she had 9 puppies. So the bigger, the middle-sized dog is her second batch. Puppies. The other one's a stray. He had a sister, so of the 9, we picked 2. And my sons took one each. But we went out to adopt back theirs because of their jobs. Their dogs just don't,
They need space and room.
but they didn't grow, you know, all our other dogs we've ever had grew up in camp. They don't know anything about camp. This is all they know about camp. So it's just a reminder to me that I gotta get. Okay, be careful. Anyway, it's just a reminder to me that I got the dogs up. They can't be running again, the health inspector would show up, which they're gonna do. And I got, especially if I got her, she's not hit, she's got something.
Yeah, tell by her
You
face.
know, they'll slam you bad, so.
Yeah, they sure will. And then you start camp when?
Well, we have our first camp since COVID next weekend. Right now,
How many people?
right now they've got 50 signed up, but we'll probably end up with about 65 people.
And they stay for how long? 2 days?
They'll stay, what's the holiday?
Whose is this?
I think is it Kelly's? Did she pick up your phone?
I bet she
That
did.
may be hers. What's the holiday next Monday?
President's Day?
So they're coming in on Friday, Tyler's wedding. So I'm going to the wedding and then Tony, then coming back, my sister and my son are gonna do dinner that night. Then they'll be here all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and most of Monday. So I'll be out of work Friday and Monday, which are the 2 worst days.
What about
for me.
this, babe?
Just leave it. Just leave it. Like I said, that guy's coming. I'm just gonna leave this up, leave the waters out if he needs them, and the peppermints, I'll just bag it up. Take home, or take it out.
Can we turn this off, this little live feed?
I don't know, we can.